Tesla announcing the formation of a special committee to evaluate Elon Musk's proposal to take the company private. The automaker says the committee has not, and this is important, has not received a formal proposal from Musk and has not reached any conclusion on the advisability of such a deal. The committee is composed of only 3 people, and I want to go through them each with you so you understand their history, their background, and to the extent that you want to measure their independence. Brad Buss is on this list. He used to be the CFO of Solar City. Of course, that company acquired by Tesla. That company formerly controlled also, of course, by Elon Musk. Then you have Robin Denholm. She joined the board in 2004. She has been the COO of Telstra Corporation. That's a communications company. Prior to that, she was with Juniper Networks. And then finally, Linda Johnson Rice, of course, of the Johnson family, of course, Ebony Magazine. And she's been back at that company. But a couple people not on the list that are just worth mentioning when you think about this board. James Murdoch, not on this committee. Also, Antonio Grazzi, a private equity guy, not on this committee. And I think there's some real questions about why these 3, what their history really is. Is this the strongest group in terms of how they are going to think about this relative to others? In terms of measuring this.
Can I ask a more pointed question?
Yes.
You're suggesting they're not as independent as they should be, or there are better qualified people on the board to help make a decision about whether or not this company should go private or assess a deal?
I think that there's at least 2 people, the 2 others that I mentioned, Antonio and also James Murdoch, who you would have liked to see on an independent committee like this, that are ultimately going to be the judges and the jury as to whether a private transaction should go ahead or not. And the question is why they're not on that committee.
So I do wonder about this sentence. This special committee has the full power and authority of the board of directors to take any and all actions on behalf of the board of directors as it deems necessary to evaluate. But ultimately, it will get decided by the full board. No, it's only going to be decided by these 3 people.
Ultimately, it has to be decided by this independent group. We should also tell you, because we've been talking this morning about advisors. Last night, Elon Musk went on Twitter and said that Goldman Sachs was now advising him. Also said that Silver Lake, a private equity firm that historically does not do advice, we should say, is advising him. He also said that Wachtell Lipton and Munger Tolles Olson was advising him on the legal side.
But
this group has a different group.
Right.
Latham & Watkins, the law firm, is advising them currently, as well as Wilson Sonsini. So we will see who else joins them. They are going to be adding a financial advisor when and if they get an actual proposal. So there's a lot going on here, guys.
I kind of with you. I still think there's some scrambling just because they're still worried about whether the financing, whether that was an accurate tweet or not. I mean, they're still they're making it look good. Is it? I don't know. I'm still a little bit.
Well, look, and the next question is, does the SEC jump in here? When does the SEC jump in here? By the way, if you think that the SEC today is a more business-friendly SEC than historically, part of the calculus has to be, do you make an example of Elon Musk at the expense of the company and its employees? Do you not?
Well, now you're talking about whether there's wiggle room in the law itself.
But don't we believe the SEC is involved? Isn't the reporting indicating that they are absolutely
There's no question they're looking into this. The question is, do they take action? What does that action look like?
But when funding has been secured, true or false?
100% false. On its face, unless you believe that his intent was something different, and we've gone over this before a million times. We've had all sorts of people, including our own president, who's tweeted out things, and people have said, "Well, what did he really intend? Was he really trying to say funding secured in his mind versus funding secured in reality?" It's
different for when the stock goes up and you've got
these are real issues. This is why Twitter
in the middle of the session of the trading.
By the way, I wrote about it today. Irrespective of what you think about Elon Musk, Twitter is a terrible, terrible place to try to disclose material information.
But I'm not sure it is. Everybody gets it at the same time.
It is full disclosure, almost, isn't it?
You know what? Anytime
you should have had a link to a press release.
If you have a link to a press release, where you have a full contextual, nuanced information, sure. But anytime you're dealing with now 140, 280 characters,
it's 280 now.